Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
And a splendid morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo and broadcasting on TV1, which of course is a proud member of the Capital Maharaja Group. Now then, this morning it's going to be a discussion on the after effects or the way forward in the aftermath of the Bondgate report coming out. We're told that the report started to come out. We're told that the central bank has a copy and so on. It isn't entirely clear how the central bank got it. There's a lot of speculation and so on. But to discuss this and more this morning is Mr. Rusripala Tenakon. Very good morning to you, Mr. Rusripala.
Good morning, Farah.
Now then, Mr. Rusripala, which way will be forward for Sri Lanka in this post-bond report period?
Yes, I think we have come to a very critical stage of our state of affairs in this country for us. One thing is, the bond issue, however much people are trying to sort of show that, that is not such an important thing or whatever, it has assumed proportions of a national interest in this country. And it boiled down to a situation where the president himself took up the position that in the national interest he is compelled to appoint a commission of inquiry to go into it. Now, we can't forget the fact that this happened in the aftermath of so many inquiries and so many things happening, statements in parliament, no confidence motion notices given, COPE committee is appointed, COPE committee reports not submitted to Parliament, Parliament being dissolved on the verge of submitting COPE committee reports, and then finally the country going for an election. Then immediately after the election, a new COPE committee being appointed, and the new COPE committee being assigned with the task of examining or investigating into the bond thing again, and the COPE committee submitting a report, and the report being debated in Parliament. Now, this is the history. Now, we cannot forget the fact that this appointment of the Commission of Inquiry happened after a full debate, so-called debate. I don't call it a debate anyway. Yeah. But then, that's the terminology that was used. Okay. After that debate. Right. Now, we were wondering why. Because it was one of the most prudent steps that was taken in this country, because the people in the country expected this issue not to get ended up with mudslinging at each other. We wanted something beyond that. Yeah. We wanted to find out what has happened, what the government is going to do, what is the future. Whether this type of things will never recur again. But then what happened was, the parliamentary so-called debate ended up in thin air and no conclusions valid were taken. The report has been referred to the Attorney General long before the Parliament started debating it, so by the Prime Minister.
It's like putting the cart before the horse.
Exactly. And then the commission was appointed in a context when the President found that the Attorney General was deciding or trying to choose between whether it is a civil matter or a criminal matter. This was a very bad situation.
Indeed.
So therefore, I think the President did the most prudent thing, appointing a commission. Now we know, you and I, what happened, what transpired. Now, in this governance game, if the things that were revealed during the Bond Commission report could have happened, I mean, what could the whole world, to which the evidence was open, to which the proceedings of the commission was open because of the media, would have formed as an opinion about this country. You know, the things that have been happening, the ministerial influences, ministers calling the chairman of state banks and then telling them not to bid. I mean, this type of thing. Yeah. You see, if we
and then the Prime Minister saying that there was no such policy for the state banks to bid low and to bring the rates down.
Exactly, exactly. It makes matters worse. Yeah. It makes matters worse, because the Prime Minister is taking up one position, his Minister of Finance, his choice, is taking up another position. So we have to know the country was full thirst,
for information.
For information.
Yeah.
What would the Commission recommend? What would the Commission conclude in the context of these evidences? Now, we wanted the report to be sent to Parliament.
Yeah.
I mean, we expected that, and that's a very good expectation.
Well, what good is it? Isn't it better to send it to the AG's department and tell them to get on with it and charge people and so on?
For us, in a different context, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
But in the background that the whole thing emanated,
Yeah.
How it took place, where the Parliament was involved from the beginning, from the day that the Prime Minister chose to make a statement,
On the
special
17th
statement.
of March,
17th, you are right, you remember the dates.
Yeah.
The 17th of March 2015.
Yeah.
And thereby creating another confusion without giving a debate on it.
And we must point out that this network started proceedings, or started reporting, if you
Yes.
like, on the 8th of March 2015.
Exactly.
And right from the outset, we've always maintained that there's been a departure from process and a conflict of interest. It was apparent to us, and it was a pity that it wasn't apparent to the others.
I recall the references made in his statement to the Parliament by Prime Minister, naming some of the media institutions.
Yes.
That was the reason, because you started it on the 8th of March, he made the statement on the 17th,
Yeah.
Naturally he was disturbed. And that showed very clearly to the whole world that the Prime Minister is averse to media criticisms.
On the other hand, it could be construed that the Prime Minister is responding to a barrage of concern raised by the media and led unashamedly so, led by us, very proudly led by us.
But that's not the way to react to such a media representation, the media intervention. Media should be respected. And the people today, having gone through this entire episode and come to this stage, they respect the media for the role that they have done, fearlessly.
That's
amidst
true.
amidst
That's true.
suppression, amidst oppression.
Yes.
That's it.
In the most challenging of circumstances.
Yes.
Bombed, stoned, insulted, Claymore bombed, lest anyone forget, and there was no right to information in place then.
Yes.
So we not needed that. But if we were to move on, now this, what's the word? It's so shocking. I'm still lost of words from yesterday.
Yes.
Look, from this Kalabella that happened in Parliament.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Susipala, murder under British law
Yes.
is an act that is premeditated.
Yes.
In American law, it's different things, but
Yeah.
in British law, murder means premeditated.
Yes,
It
yes.
didn't just happen there. You came there planned.
Yes.
Now then, if you were to apply that sort of rule, premeditated, this Kalabella in the Parliament,
Yeah.
was it really a bunch of boys and girls who got their excitement levels went over, and then, one thing led to another and the Kalabella started? Or was there something far more sinister? Was it premeditated? This business about how the horror and all that. That was, what was that? Premeditated? Pre-planned?
For us, in this term murder, there is another aspect to it. There is also a definition to say that culpable homicide not amounting to murder.
Yeah.
So murder can be something which is spontaneously happening
Yeah.
in self-defense or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you can call it murder then.
Yeah.
But then, what happened yesterday or day before yesterday in the Parliament
Yeah.
certainly is not something that a spontaneous reaction.
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Right.
And I don't agree with the social civil right movement people and various people
Yeah.
just trying to boil it down or reduce it to or brief it to a disgusting behavior. That's not so. It goes beyond. Why I say that is, when we look back from the beginning to various things that happen, the deliberate provocations the deliberate diversions intended to mislead. In that context, what transpired in the parliament is not an spontaneous. Now see, the so-called opposition, what is that called? Ekabadda, joint opposition.
Yeah.
They asked for a debate.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they wanted the debate before the committee report was given to them, commission report.
Yeah.
I do not know that.
Yeah.
If they really wanted the debate before having an access to the commission report,
Yeah.
it would have been utterly silly move.
Yes, what's the point?
Idiotic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no meaningful debate can take place on an important issue like this without going through the report.
Yeah.
Or whether they wanted to just say something rising out of the summary that was given by the president when it was handed over to him. He was, of course, duty bound to clear the air, to tell the country actually what is the summary of it. And
But it was very good of him not to have delayed that, doing that, I think.
No, that was a required.
By the third day he did that.
That was a required step. Why keep people on pins? You know, that's not the way.
Correct.
So he did that, and in that context,
Yeah.
if the joint opposition wanted a debate, they are asking for a debate is okay.
Yeah.
But take the response of the government. Should the government
Yeah.
not tell them, okay, we are ready to give a debate, shall we all wait till the report is tabled in
Yeah.
parliament? Instead of that,
Yeah.
as if somebody is granting a favor, the Prime Minister spoke to the, it is reported,
Yeah.
spoke to the speaker and immediately arranged
Yeah.
a debate.
Right.
Now, what does that mean? What are they going to debate? In as much as the joint opposition members were not careful enough to make their request to have a debate after the commission report is tabled,
Yeah.
the Prime Minister's granting of an opportunity for a debate
Yeah.
is equally bad, no, without the commission report. And what happened? He came prepared with a statement,
Yeah.
a written down statement.
Yes.
The joint opposition came prepared with posters. Now this is
Right.
not a spontaneous thing, no?
No. So it was,
Both sides, now see, ironically,
Yeah.
who were there? The joint opposition, which was subject to accusations and which was also open to reports, 34 reports being tabled on the same day, coming from the bribery commission about their performance during their period. And over and above that, the commission report was to come. Commission report was levelled, everybody knows, more UNPs are involved, no? As a party, as members, as people ruling authorities who were in charge of the subjects. I mean, they cannot absorb their responsibility, no? So everybody knows that the UNP it is focused on the UNP.
Yeah.
At least those ministers who were in charge of those subjects as so on. And the joint opposition. Now both of them, to my mind, they got together to make it a kolam maduwa. As you say, kalabala.
Yeah.
I call it kolam maduwa.
Yeah.
Deliberately, just to sling mud and forget the issue. The country wants something beyond that. The people in this country want.
What do they want?
They want to know what exactly the parliamentarians think on the recommendations of the commission and what the parliament itself is going to recommend over and above the recommendations. That is what we want to know. It's more serious than slinging mud at each other. If somebody thinks by a pre-planned provocative act,
Yeah.
they can make this to bury the hatchet, rather, they are mistaken. Nobody in this country with a sense of some responsibility will ever permit this to be buried like that. Whether it is by a debate or a pre-arranged stage orchestrated affair,
Yeah.
nobody will accept that.
Now then, do send us your messages. The card will come up there, 0772 300 305. Yesterday, apparently, some people missed that. So there you go. And there's one question here which I wanted to ask you, Mr. Supala. Well, the viewer is asking this. Why is there a delay in publishing the bond report? How do other countries act in similar situations? In a democracy, people have the right to know. Now, the people suspect that the delay is to cover up.
Well, that is one way of looking at it, but I don't think so. I think there was some plausible explanation that was given by a very high up minister in the government, no one other than Honorable Susil Premajayantha.
Yeah.
He said something acceptable rather. You know what he said was that the report was then and there referred to the Attorney General.
Yeah.
And the Attorney General, having gone through the report, found that there was enough reason for them to, before releasing the report, because it contained some evidence of some importance, not to release it as like that. And before taking steps to safeguard the evidence or whatever records or whatever, taking plausible measures. So that's a good explanation.
But then also, you seem to be suggesting that that Minister Premajayantha's explanation appears to suggest that there is some sensitive information which they will then sort of withhold from the public eye. That's not good, is it?
No. That's not what it construes. I mean, it doesn't refer to the suppression of some sensitive information.
Right.
There is sensitive information which leads to certain evidence that is still available openly.
I see.
Those things should be safeguarded for the future.
So nevertheless, we may see a situation. We may see a situation whereby some information in the report is not publicly available.
No, it is not immediately available, but now it is very clear.
It will be available.
It will be made available. I mean, people will have to have patience on these issues.
Well, we waited nearly 3 years.
Of course, there's a long wait for a big change.
Yes.
And fortunately, certain things happened in the world to human beings which appear to be bad at the given moment, but not so when the final result comes. I think this will clean up. This will give the opportunity, open up the opportunity to clean up a party, clean up a government, good governance in the government, and to proceed unhampered for the rest of the period.
Another question. Your guest says nobody will accept a cover-up. Isn't it the case that historically we have always accepted cover-ups of ruling party misdeeds? Is it a question of us having accepted it, or we've got no choice?
Well, the things that have happened are matters of the past. We have changed and we have come to a new era. At least the people have been in the forefront in changing that situation. So many things happened, but a thing happened which was unexpected. The people got together finally and they formed. What they want was a change. Whether it is taking place in the right direction or not is another issue, but people are determined to take it forward.
So which is that way forward? Is it going to be a prosecution? We've been told by our sources that Arjuna Mahendran is not in Sri Lanka, that he is alleged to have said that he will not be returning and that his son-in-law can face the music on his own. The son-in-law himself has got his passports impounded or he's precluded from leaving without prior permission, and so on. So what is that way forward? Is it going to be one where there will be a prosecution and a dual-track kind of intent to recover the monies?
There is much more to this than that, no, for us. Prosecution is obviously a must. And recovery again is a must. And both these things are, I think, very clearly stipulated or given in the commission report. From what transpired from the summary that was given by the President, it is very clear that even the commission has gone to the extent of recommending to take immediate action to pass a law to recover the monies. So that aspect has been taken care of, at least for the time being. We do not know how it will manifest or how it will be done.
But as I think as Vasant Samarasinha and you said on Pathikada some days ago,
Yes.
that do you seriously believe that the people, some of whom are actually mentioned in the report,
Yeah.
and so many repercussions, do you really think
Yeah.
that they will raise their hands and vote for this?
Yeah, that is one aspect. You know, if they don't raise their hands, they are raising another thing, exposing themselves to the world. And that is a good thing for the people of this country to know who these people are and what they are covering to. The second thing is,
Yeah.
you were talking about the impounding of the passport of Arjuna Mahendran, Arjuna Aloysius. And that poses a question. Why wasn't the passport of Arjuna Mahendran not impounded? Why was he allowed to go out? And today, according to the summary that was given out by the President, even Arjuna Mahendran is implicated in this, you know, by the Commission.
Yeah.
Of course, we knew it before.
Yeah.
We knew what would happen.
Yeah.
But then the Commission officially has declared that he has had a role, a questionable role, for which he is answerable. Now, the third question, the most important thing is,
Yeah.
when Arjuna Mahendran becomes responsible and answerable,
Yeah.
another person becomes responsible and answerable for us.
Yeah.
And for that, you don't need any legal procedure as such. You don't need any prosecution as such. That is, the ethical performance of a politician, respectable politician, is the only thing that matters there.
Right.
The person who took the responsibility of appointing Arjuna Mahendran amidst lots of opposition and criticism, he being a foreigner, he being a person who has been brought in, who cannot give take an oath of allegiance in the country, he was appointed nevertheless. But today he is absconding if he is wanted. And shouldn't somebody take that responsibility?
But I don't know if he's wanted yet, because we are not sure whether the police have actually initiated that process to record a statement from him now.
We will know that soon.
Yeah.
And we will also know soon, very soon, whether he will himself make himself available.
Yeah.
I mean, if that happens, is well and good.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, there are certain other things that should follow. There will be somebody, there has to be somebody who should take the responsibility for that.
Yeah.
Forget that. One minister has already stepped down. For what? Not for the involvement directly in the bond affair.
Right.
He has had questionable transactions, unexplained, suppressing of evidence, and he has been asked to step down. Right? How many others' names have come up? How many others who are directly responsible? How many others under whose authority and directive this whole thing has manifested?
Yeah.
Who are still remaining without taking action? This is the situation that worries us. Because in a democratic country, when we see the democracy playing elsewhere, how it is rolling, you know.
Yeah.
What is happening in this country is sickening, no?
Yeah.
There is no sense of responsibility. There is no sense of respect to public opinion.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So this aspect is a very important thing, and we are very concerned about it. So your question, the way forward.
Indeed. Where is the way forward?
Coming back to
Which
that.
is the way forward? Is it that way?
Coming back to that.
Is
Now,
it inaction? Is it action?
the people in this country should be told very clearly that we have been talking about ministers of a certain political party.
Yeah.
When we talk about personalities of a political party, we don't talk about the party per se.
Ah, yes.
The party is a different body.
Indeed.
But when people are attached to that party,
Yeah.
you know, if they leave,
Yeah.
if they pave the way for the others to continue,
Right.
they do a cleaning process, no?
Yeah.
If that cleaning process takes place, After all, we have seen, you and I have seen so many such instances in the world happening now.
Indeed.
Leaders of parties stepping down for what? For want of, for not being able to carry their election promises. Prime ministers have stepped down.
Well, I mean, David Cameron was a big supporter of staying in Europe.
Yeah.
And
European Commission thing.
yes, of the European Union.
I think the Japanese Prime Minister.
And the people of Britain voted the other way. The other way as in the other way to what the Prime Minister of Britain wanted
Yes.
or was promoting.
Yeah.
He stepped down straight away, not only from being Prime Minister, but also from being a Member of Parliament.
Exactly.
He's now private citizen David Cameron.
Exactly. And nothing happened to that party.
Nothing happened to that party.
That party continues.
That party still continues.
Yeah, and
In
the
fact,
British Japanese Prime Minister.
and Theresa May is the Prime Minister.
Yeah, and Prime Minister who said,
So do you envisage a situation where, after all, the United National Party is the largest single party in Parliament?
yes,
And after all, let
Yeah.
us not forget
Yeah.
that it is President Maithripala Sirisena who has a clear majority,
Yeah.
and the people elected him
Yes.
based, obviously,
Yes.
on his manifesto.
Yes.
Right? So we have that situation.
Yeah.
And we have a situation where it is the President who appoints from the person who can command the majority in Parliament.
Yes.
So now, do you see a scenario where the incumbent Prime Minister has to step down because of all these claims and so on? What will happen then? Will the partnership come to an end, or will the partnership carry on?
I don't know, that is left to the party to decide, but it's silly if the party decides that because a person has been asked to step down. Now the deputy leader of the party has already stepped down.
Yeah.
The party goes on.
Yeah.
I mean, even if the leader does it, that's the same thing. There will be somebody in that party because it's the oldest democratic party in this country.
So what I'm getting here from you is that we mustn't confuse the leader of the UNP and the UNP itself. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, that is what I am saying. It is a party with a base, a very strong people's base in this country.
Indeed.
And people have expectations, and that party has delivered results. I mean, amidst all kinds of criticisms,
Indeed.
it has decided delivered
And it
results.
is the party that brought the open economy to this country.
And it is the party that supported the Maithripala Sirisena to become the president.
Yes, so it has had some very good forward-thinking, very good moves, if you like.
Exactly.
As a party.
And this is the time for us in this country. We don't need to talk about parties anymore.
Yeah.
We want a perfect unity
Yeah.
among the parliamentarians, at least for in the manner in which they are elected,
Yeah.
and in the forthcoming elections as well.
Yeah.
For the country to move forward.
Indeed.
If the country can move forward, what does it matter if Ranil Wickremesinghe steps down?
Indeed.
Will anybody be worried? Nobody. I mean, when Cameron went, the Britishers did not cry.
Yeah.
That was the end of him. Or he can be a guidance or whatever it is from behind the scenes. That's a
Yeah.
different situation.
Yeah.
What we really want the country to move forward in a united manner.
Yeah.
We must forget the party politics, and we must also never ever allow the country to raise the previous era things to raise the head.
People should vote for individuals and not for parties and families like their forefathers have done. I got that message from a viewer a few days ago.
Yes.
How true is that?
Yeah, it is true, but how can it manifest in the form of practical sense?
Yeah.
Because the list is put forward still by the party.
And that's the problem.
So the person to whom you are selecting to vote, whether it's an individual from that area or otherwise is a man who has been nominated by the party again. So this system is not a total solution or a panacea to what was happening or what was in existence. It's a partial solution. But let us be happy. It is a way forward.
Are you ready? Have you put steps in place to get your copy of the of the Bond report?
Of course. I have approached everybody possible whom I know to have a first-hand information and for you and I to come and read it out to the public so that they have been waiting all this time.
Yes.
What these recommendations
I honestly think they should make use of technology and put it out on the web.
They will. I mean, the moment it is released, that means it will be on the web, no?
The other thing I want to quickly point out is that, you know, the Prime Minister's talked about the 2018-2014. But I think, Mr. Russipala, that it's very good news to have a commission of inquiry. Because, as you can see, COPE 1 and COPE 2, although they had 2 lots of COPE, the information that was elicited by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry with these 2 very senior Supreme Court judges and the former Deputy Auditor General was far, far more intense than both the COPE committee reports put together.
I agree with you. Any amount of investigations and inquiries cannot be called bad. It is okay. But what disturbs me is already on the website a report given by the audit, no one other than the Auditor General of this.
Yes, I know, but that's what I'm trying to say. Even COPE, I mean, I'm trying to tell you that we have the Auditor General's report, it is available.
Yes.
But the Commission of Inquiry went several layers below.
Yes.
And they've elicited all sorts of information.
Yes.
So perhaps we may find that with that same period. So therefore, we mustn't leave any stone unturned.
No, I fully agree with you. I mean, what is no harm done. But only thing is, we should not confuse that with the present situation.
Absolutely.
There is a report available, and in order to dilute the contents of that report, if somebody is pointing a finger at something that has happened, that is bad.
Yes,
that is a diversion tactic.
That sounds a very diversionary measure.
Yes.
And I agree with you. Mr. Russipala, guess what? We finished our time. They want it all back. So, thank you very much for being on the program. We appreciate your continued concern on behalf of the people of our country. And that's the way it was on Friday, the 12th of January, 2018, from Newsline. Take care and God bless.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukut Ali.